Hold on one second. I don't know if the
Oh, I went the road.
he's on here already. These ads. Alex, can you hear?
Can you guys hear me?
Okay, then yeah, hold on. How do we turn it back on? Hello, Alex, are you there?
I am. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there he is. There you go. All right.
I can hear you guys, so you guys couldn't hear me, obviously.
Yeah, as long as they talk. Yeah, we don't really listen to you anyway, but you know, hey. Thanks for playing along.
It's like all of my clients, you're free to ignore the voice. I mean, you know.
So we're good to go, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order and we'll start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And Chris, we can take a roll.
Scott Meyer,
Here.
Amy Lawson, Chris McCray here, Ed Brand here, Dan Hughey,
Here.
Megan Britt. Not here.
All
Okay.
right. We do have a quorum for a motion to approve the meeting agenda. Approve agenda.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Consider approving the minutes from the joint town council RDC meeting.
Jared, look through these minutes. Like we may not have gotten them all. I'm not sure what's happened. Go to the bottom of page 1, starts with old business. Talks about TIF bond issue. And the next page starts.
Yeah, it looks like it was meant for double-sided printing and it was not.
So I think it'd be important to see. I know, I thought we did take, as RDC, take action during that meeting. That TIF bond issue.
I believe we did. So your motion is to table?
I think it makes sense to table it, to get a chance to get the full right.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to table the minutes from the joint council RDC meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Motion to consider approving the minutes of the October 17th regular RDC meeting.
Moving to approve minutes from the meeting of October 17th.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. Abstain. Motion carries. Unless we have none new business. Council to consider the facade repair grant payment to Scott Richard for the 19 South Main Street. I believe he submitted all the seats and pictures.
I'll make a motion to approve this.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Review of financials.
HP, HPD Auto LLC, what is this?
We approved more than that, but that was.
We approved 50, but
Okay.
it came in as 33. I can't remember what type of truck was it.
That's that bucket truck, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Came in much lower than what we'd approved.
Right.
Looks nice too. So the guy is using it? Yeah.
I'll take credit.
So we approved the 50,000 for this, so what happens to the excess?
I get it. It just goes back in.
Okay.
I like my idea better, but it just goes back into the fund.
I'll make a motion that we approve the financials as written.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the financials. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
I.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is that a slow aye?
Yeah.
All right.
Make sure.
Approval of invoices. Pretty standard stuff.
Motion to approve,
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the invoices as submitted. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Public comment. Very good, very. Staff comment.
Just a couple of really quick things. First, are you all wanting to serve in 2025? You don't have to give me an answer now, but just something to think about.
Yes.
It would be my honor.
Okay. I think what we've done in years past is the town council has to vote on your positions every year. It's just a 1-year term. And I think we technically open it up to the public, but we even say in the notification that members that are already on the board and wishing to continue are usually given preference. So it's not like it's false advertising, but I think that's how we've done it in the past. And then the only other item is just to give you a quick update on the old funeral home. I reached out to the folks that are interested in possibly renovating that structure for a restaurant. And they're still working on different bids for their project. I guess the one bid came in higher than they were hoping on, so they're trying to get us something by the end of the year. So still a work in progress.
Are they aware that we're going to access part of that property to redo the alley?
I don't know one way or the other. I don't think so.
Well, the discussion is not about buying it, right?
No, not necessarily. I think the financial arrangement, however, that ends up working, whether it's a sale, whether it's a lease, I think that's to be determined. Simply put, at this point, it's really the same status that they've been in for the last few months, is that they're looking to see if financially they can make the project work. And then I think if they can show that it can work, then it's what's the next steps to see if the RDC and or council want to make that happen, and whether it's a lease or purchase or whatever it ends up being.
Allowed.
Yes. It can be, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is for, commercial, you can lease things out,
Oh, okay.
not
Maybe it was-
residential,
Okay, because it was the houses there, so maybe that's what it was about.
right?
Cool.
You don't
Not in say agree.
Alex, are you still at work?
I am.
Wow,
Good man.
impressive.
Snowed in. I may just spend the night here.
That's it for me, unless you have any questions on anything.
Follow from the law. With it.
We're past public comments.
You can't
We
refuse.
don't have that.
You can't refuse her.
You can refuse all you want. Tanya Davis, Fortville Town Council. I just wanted to prepare you guys. I don't know if you've watched any of our meetings, but we're gonna try to move forward with the Dora thing. Designated outdoor refreshment. And we're working on looking at the ordinance again to get it passed. There are some local business people that will be coming to you to see about funding the process in the tune of not more than $10,000.
What is the funding about?
That's to the attorney fees to set up the Dora, to advertise it and get, they haven't really, nobody's really decided how we're gonna handle it, if it's gonna be bracelets or cups or, and also the marketing part of it with the signs and stuff that have to mark the boundaries. It'll all be included in that. I think they went to, Noblesville, wasn't it? And that's what they said. They budgeted 10,000 for it, but I think they only spent like 7. Yeah, it might not be that much, but I just wanted to prepare you that you're gonna, hopefully at one of the 2 next council meetings, we'll be able to pass that ordinance. We wanted to do that before they came to you anyway, so hopefully by the time you have your next meeting next month, you'll be able to hear that from them. It's Kevin LaBar. He's the one that seems to be leading the group, and it's just local business people. But obviously we'll have to be the ones, we asked that question about who's gonna facilitate it, so I think Kevin will take on that responsibility too, I think.
That just allows them to have a specific cut to go from business to business.
Yeah, and it might be too that after so long, after you do a group of, and we talked about putting stickers on them because stickers are so cheap. You could buy thousands of stickers and just stick it on whatever plastic cup the place has. So we want to make it as simple and something that the town doesn't have to maintain because we don't have the people to do that. So it needs to be something that the business people will take on that responsibility to make sure that they have the right stuff to do what needs to be done.
I think they mentioned talking to suppliers.
Yeah, I think Kevin was gonna talk to one to see, they have, give them stuff all the time. Your Monarch used to do a lot of it, but I don't know about now. And they were gonna talk to them to see if they would help them with that. So that's a possibility too. So that could cut down what's gonna be your cost.
Is that gonna be just on Main Street or is that?
We're working on the maps. I put 2 maps with it today because I did this a long time ago when we were talking about this, but it actually covers 1 block south of Broadway and then all the way to, includes Landmark Park all the way up to Church Street. Main Street, and just the Main Street. It's like Merrill Street is included in that. Merrill Street to Knoll, wasn't it? Yeah, I think that's what it was. So I could send that stuff to you if you guys want to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, any advanced knowledge. we
They,
have-
the council hasn't really agreed to the map yet, but these are the 2 that I put in front of them, with all to take a look at before our next meeting. So
Anything that's gonna help eliminate questions in
Yeah,
advance.
yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I'll just email them to you.
Then how do they manage that? Does the police department manage that or?
Well, they will to a certain degree. I mean, it's more, you're looking at the responsibility of the community,
Mhm.
to also enforce as well. But yeah, they would be the one to enforce a violation of some kind.
And if I can, sorry, Ty, if I can jump in, that's a very good question. We talked about this at the, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can't hear you.
I can't hear you.
Talk
You
up,
can't-
speak up.
You can't hear me?
I got hearing aids.
You can't hear him up here. You can hear him back there. Yeah. Go ahead, Alex.
Alex, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was gonna say, there's two sides of the enforcement. One is just town regulations and just kind of keep an eye on, make sure people aren't, getting drunk and wandering around. Which Fortville PD does now, right? As far as the DORA itself, it's really a state excise police enforcement, and they're going to be keeping an eye on the DORA to make sure that the signs are up that have to be up, saying where the boundaries are that Tanya mentioned. And that if the town requires cups or stickers or both or something like that, that businesses are complying. And that only businesses that are registered as designated vendors are participating by allowing the to-go, open drinks and in and out. So, but that really falls on, from an enforcement, the Indiana Excise Police. Because if take your pick, Taxman, Box Garden, anybody with an alcohol permit is breaking the rules, then they would be subject to a violation against their alcohol permit. It wouldn't be a violation against the town of Fortville.
Whose liquor liability comes into play if somebody's runs into an issue?
It's gonna be on the bar. I mean, the town's gonna get sued, of course, because we always do. But you've got immunity as a governmental entity, and all you're doing is enacting this area, which is provided for by statute. And so while some plaintiff's attorney may name the town of Fortville, there's no cause of action there. Any of the liquor liability is still going to fall back to the actual restaurant that was serving the alcohol and doing whatever was inappropriate. I mean, it's no different than a town the size of Fortville. You guys could actually have the statutory authority to say you won't issue three-way liquor permits in the town. We've got an ordinance that says that you will. You're not getting sued for every dram shop liquor liability action because as a town, at some point in time, you decided to allow restaurants to sell alcohol. So same thing. There's not going to be an increase in liquor liability to the town. And there's very little now.
So if there is a liquor liability issue, would we presume then that any restaurant or establishment that participates in that's going to be named in a suit? Unless you can prove where they were when they were drinking?
Yeah. I mean, so good question. And any lawsuit like that, the attorney is going to need to make, have facts that support some sort of liability. And so if I go in and I get overserved at, and not to pick on Jake, but just Box Garden or Moondrops or, take your pick. And I'm in there and I walk out and drunk and fall and hurt myself or somebody else, and I hire an attorney. I can't sue Taxman. I was never there, and even if I had to say, well, I walked out and fell and broke my face because I was heading down to Taxman, that still doesn't implicate Taxman just because I'm going there. So it's still, any liability is going to fall on. Now, if I had been doing a pub crawl and I started down at Denver's and then went to, the wine garage and then, then probably the plaintiff's attorney is going to take a look at each and every one of those and try to figure out when did the drunk person that caused the issue and has the complaint or the person that was hurt by the drunk person, their lawyer suing the bars that overserved the person. When did the person get to the level of intoxication that then it became a violation and illegal to continue serving that person? And, I've been involved in lawsuits like that as the lawyer, not as the party. But, you look at sales records and receipts and how much they drink and when and over what course of time. So again, unless a particular restaurant has participated and negligently so in serving somebody, they may get named in a lawsuit, but if they've got a lawyer that's paying attention to things, they should be able to work their way out of it pretty quickly.
All right, just curious.
No, good question. Also, this may come up, I did vet whether these funds, if the RDC chooses to use them, are appropriate under the law. And both Dennis Otten and I feel that they are. It benefits the TIF district, and it's not expressly stated in the law, but it's in the spirit of what these funds are supposed to go towards. So when and if the ask is made, it sounds like you may get it at your next RDC meeting if the council adopts the ordinance and moves forward. There isn't a legal issue with providing these funds if you choose to do so.
All righty. Well, thanks for the heads up. Any other board comments?
None.
I do. I'm going to direct this at Adam. Please tell me if you're not the right person. So now that the pathway sidewalk along Merrill is complete, and ends at 200, what's the chances of us using RDC money to complete that? I know we have a grant coming in a few years, but could the RDC get involved in finishing that pathway to the school system?
Well, that's a good question. I would say, generally speaking, and Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's benefiting the TIF district in the downtown area, then legally you could probably use the funds to do that. So first, Alex, does that sound accurate?
It does. No, you're right. We would need to make that nexus and that connection that it benefits the TIF district, even if it's the part of the path or all of the path extension doesn't, lie inside of the district. It could still benefit it. So we'd have to look at it, but that's the type of project that, those types of infrastructure, streets, trails, sewer, water, electric, that, TIF's supposed to go towards. And especially, if we can make an argument or a connection that having that trail adds to the developability, that's a word, of that area out there, that helps also. My gut tells me I think we'd be able to get there and make the connection. We just need to look at it.
Wasn't the developers that was going to complete that area between the Christian church to the school, wasn't they going to do that themselves as part of the project?
Well, if there is a developer that comes in and say wants to develop the field that's south of the Christian church, then they would be required to put in the path. However, there is no developer in the queue wanting to develop that. So without RDC involvement, then we would be beholden to the timeframe and funding that the Madison County Council of Governments has for that project. But it's an interesting idea. I honestly don't think that I've really considered that. But if there's consensus from the RDC to look into possibly just having the RDC pay for
Part of the
For
trail
that.
missing it.
what's that?
What part of the trail?
It would be from 200 West and Fortville Pike, from that intersection all the way down to Mount Vernon North subdivision. So I believe we have the right of way that was done.
Are we talking about going straight down Fortville Pike or going around 200?
Well, if I understood the question correctly, it was just completing the gap
Correct.
from Mount Vernon North to
Yeah, I
200.
meant Fortville Pike, yeah, where it stops there,
So-
200. That's very well lit.
Yeah.
It's nice. It would just be nice to
It would
Yeah.
be, and
continue it.
it is. So, yeah, so from the, yeah,
But right now it's.
Years since I sold my house. So, but you're saying you want to go straight down Fortville Pike? not down
No, no,
200.
no, no. I would like to
Just
see it
complete the gap.
continue as it was proposed along 200. Just
Isn't there-
the gap filled.
yeah, Joe can speak to that.
It's the plan.
Please state your name for the record, sir.
Joe Renner, town manager. If this thing's working, is it on? Oh, oh, you would want me to sing. You've heard me sing. That trail, and don't hold me to this exact number. I'm thinking that portion of the trail was right around $3 million to install that. The developer for the Mount Vernon North installed part of it for us, which was a huge savings. They did not include the benches, the lighting and stuff like that. So as the rest of the trail gets built, we still have to include that down there to put the lighting and the benches. So there's a lot more cost rather than just the, from 200 to just a little bit south of 900 north. We're getting funds. We've been awarded funding for this project for the right-of-way acquisition. We've already acquired all the right-of-way. We own that. But with all the environmental and stream crossings and everything else that goes on, there's certain hoops we have to jump through and certain things that we have to do to be in compliance. So going through the Madison County Council of Governments, they're funding 80% of the project. So that leaves us with 20%. Their funding, they've had to shift some funds around. When the Main Street project got delayed due to the railroad, that kind of put everything else on hold. They had funding that they had to spend. They couldn't hold on to it, so they had to trade it to another MPO. And now they're, working on negotiating to get some of those funds back. Possibly 2027, they could have some funds available, which would be 2026. It would be like July of 26. There could be some funds to move forward with that. So you're talking a year and a half. Could be a little longer, could be a little sooner. We have also talked with the MPO about dividing that project, creating another DES number and making two projects. So we could finish up either 900 south, put the lights, there's a bridge that's got to go in there, so that's going to be an expense. Or maybe jump up and do the from 9 north up to Fortville Pike then. In hopes, we were kind of hoping that while we were waiting to get these funds to the MPO, that we would have a developer come in and they would be required to install the trail, which would again be a huge cost savings to the town. So. And just to put this in your, mind, I guess, the MPO is now looking out for some additional awards that they want to give us. And they're really gung ho as far as creating the trail from Broadway at 13 all the way down Broadway to connect it to Windstone subdivision. I see with this property next door to us, there's a potential that we could get that development to install that trail down at Ohio Street and Broadway, where the convenience store station is supposed to go in there. They'll be required to put that trail in. So at that point, going down Broadway will be a little bit longer, but then going down Ohio Street to tie into the trail that Bill Camus has installed. I don't know if anybody's been out there to see that. Those would be some short wins too, to kind of tie those sections together, which would in turn bring the Windstone subdivision and connect it to the downtown area.
There's a gas station in Ohio and Broadway?
There's one, yeah, there's one that's supposed to be going there.
You don't slow down when you drive by.
They're not moving very fast there.
So Joe, if it's funded in July 2026, when would that be completed approximately? Sometime in middle 2027?
Could be. Yeah, if we're ready to go to bid and we're already awarded the dollars, then yeah, I could go pretty quick under contract.
What's the story with the BP? I've heard all kind of stories. Is there any movement?
BP, this is a question for Adam. I don't know that the NDOT's even got the plans to look out for the road, do they? Have you heard any updates?
Well, so just real quick to, I guess before addressing that, to move on or to close out the discussion with the trail is if the RDC wanted to, could they take on the $3 million cost of finishing it ahead of the middle 2027 construction?
Absolutely.
Can we
Yeah,
get
I mean, if that's-
reimbursed in 2027?
You can't get reimbursed. No, they'll pay the contract, but they
Yeah, we
won't.
need to borrow some money.
Yeah.
Guess that's something we'd have to
Think
have
about,
a little bit of a discussion on.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's some other project might be coming up. Maybe, I don't know.
So Adams, what's
So
the?
anyway,
latest on the
with BP, there are no updates other than, the latest I heard, and this is news as of a few weeks ago, is that I think they're working with NDOT on getting the permit to complete the work within NDOT's right of way. The only other tidbit of information, which I don't recall if this board knows or not, but the owners had hired an attorney to try to push us to open it prematurely of that. Based on our input, Alex put together a letter and basically said, it's a possibility, but the plan commission has to make that judgment because you would be open before all your improvements that they approved as part of the concept plan would be done. So we gave them a deadline to submit to the plan commission and we never heard from them one way or the other. So
Yes.
supposedly, yeah.
And I never heard anything back from their lawyer after it sent that. So nothing on the legal side.
It's only back to the company or whoever's owner is not getting the permitting done within
Right.
dot egress on Broadway.
We actually found is during the construction, the contractor that was building the facility and the parking lot and all that wasn't aware that there was a separate set of drawings for the NDOT portion of it that included the access. They didn't know anything about it till they came in here and talked to us, and it was all part of our plans. It was part of what was approved. They didn't even have a set. They wanted our drawings. I'm like, you're not getting these because we need our copy, but they needed to go back and get them. And so the original contractor never bid on it. So they had to go back and look at it again, get another contractor. Then when they started looking at it with NDOT, come to find out what was originally designed and NDOT approved was they had to do work on both sides of Broadway. They were going to have to put some turning lanes and everything, and come to find out part of that property was privately owned. It wasn't part of NDOT's right of way. So then they had to go back to the drawing board to come up with another plan that would allow them to build something acceptable and stay within NDOT's right of way.
Is it,
Yeah. We're anxious for them to get open as well. So.
is it correct in thinking that at this point with winter time knocking on the door that it'll probably remain closed for the rest of the winter?
That's
I mean,
what I would
asphalt
assume.
plans
They're
are-
gonna have a hard time getting the concrete and asphalt
Yeah.
through the winter. Sometimes sometimes there's a plant that stays open longer and, if we could have a mild winter, I wouldn't say definitely no, but
Right.
odds are it's not gonna happen. That was their claim.
Yeah, they have, think they have some contractual agreements um,
BP.
with BP to provide, and well, to sell gas by a certain date, otherwise there's some sort of penalty.
Well, and they
Yeah,
also
how much
wanted
people-
to, yeah, in this, I don't want to say the summons, but in the letter that they sent us from their attorney, since there was going to be a penalty, you know, they wanted the town to contribute to paying for that, plus all the merchandise they have that's outdated. And they haven't been able to, I went in and looked in the windows, there's nothing in there except a few beverages. So there's not much in there. So it was poor planning on their part.
Planning.
Right.
Little bottles of that stabilizes they have to get to put up for the tanks.
The question is, when they do open, who's gonna want to go get fuel there?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, my
Yeah.
question's always been, why didn't they have somebody come take it out, take it to a different station and process it? Or why did they put fuel in those before they had the occupancy permit for the building? So,
We'll quit trying to apply common sense to things.
People. Well, then tanks will pop up if there's nothing in them, right?
I would hope not if they're designed right and installed correctly, but, because there is times that, they do get not necessarily empty, but low, and they, as long as they're sealed off real well.
Real quick, walk around that. It's not having the taxpayer or anything, they told us that. And you just got to advise them, brokerage firm that property's back on the market.
I don't know if they've actually signed with the broker to put it on the market, but they're having discussions with the owner. If not, it may already be under contract, but, and they didn't, last thing we heard from Loth was the project's not dead, but it's on life support. And then after that, we heard from the broker. We didn't hear anything back from Loth.
Well, tell them we signed a DNR. Do not resuscitate this deal.
Well, you know, I do want to add, and Adam brought this up, you know, the good thing is the property's already been zoned, the PUD. So what we would like to see there is already kind of in place. So if somebody comes in to build, they're going to have to build to that PUD or come in and ask to have it modified. So actually, we've got an opportunity to get even better project. So, yeah.
All righty.
Thanks, Joe.
Any other board comment? Thank you, sir. I think we would entertain a motion to adjourn. I was trying to get us out of here by 6:40. I'm just gonna.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at
Sorry,
7:08 PM.
Motion in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Have a good night. Thanks, Alex.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
5 minutes.